It's not everyone's cup of tea to consume an entire podcast. That's why, welcome to the Ranveer Show's highlights channel, TRS Clips. Subscribe and hit that bell icon. I want to ask you about Modi from a geopolitical perspective. While we don't follow national politics, I'm sure you're aware, as am I, but purely from an international geopolitical standpoint, what's your opinion on how the world looks at Modi and India right now?
So ever since Mr. Modi came to power, the perception of India very rapidly changed. That for the first time in living memory, we have a no-nonsense leader who upholds the national interest. Went all around the world. He met various world leaders. He met Trump. He met Barack Obama before that. He re-established good relations with Israel. He established a very warm rapport with Shinzo Abe of Japan. And he went and wooed all of India's potential allies. And he established very good relations with the Gulf countries. I mean, we have this cultural disconnect with the Gulf, very different religions. And yet there is so much warmth and strong strength of relationships between us and the Gulf countries today. So he did all that in the first term. Today, what we are witnessing is Mr. Modi is not traveling much. Today, right now, it's Dr. Jaishankar who is traveling all across the world, relentlessly building bridges and furthering India's national interest. And India's foreign service, the IFS, nowadays it's become very confident. They have a very clear direction of what to do. Earlier, India's diplomats and ambassadors did not have a clear idea of what our national interest is, what the policy is, what does the government want to pursue as a big picture thing. Today is very clear. Everybody knows their role. Everybody knows what to do. So that's what we're doing. Our economic policies, what the government implemented in the past 7 or so years, they are now bearing fruit. We are seeing unicorns born every week. In the coming years, you will have a unicorn being born almost every day in India. The entire infrastructure is being upgraded. The airports, the nuclear situation is also good. We are, like you said, we are building new weapons, developing new weapons, modernizing the military. So there's this whole overhaul of the country that's happening. We are also looking into the energy reserves, strategic energy reserves. That's why we have good relations with the Gulf and so on. Because of this, India has now become a genuine world power. It's not one of the top 2 world powers, but it is one of the 3 or 4 global poles. So today, what we are seeing is a multipolar world. A multipolar world is when we don't have only 1 superpower, 2 superpowers, but 3 or 4 major powers. So the 2 main powers are the US and China. They would both like to see a bipolar world where they only matter, nobody else matters. But as long as India exists, and Russia exists, and possibly France exists, we're going to have a multipolar world. France. Most people don't realize this, but France is a major Indo-Pacific naval power. It has multiple assets, territorial assets in the Indian Ocean, all the way up to Antarctica. For example, the Réunion Island, which is close to the Seychelles, is a French territory, and they have multiple other territories near Antarctica in the southern Indian Ocean as well. And they have a fleet of nuclear submarines that is typically anywhere in the world as an effective second strike option in case somebody messes with them from the military perspective. So they are a major Indian Ocean power, and they have an independent foreign policy, independent of NATO and the US. And that's where US and France have lots of frictions, right? So today, the main powers are the US and China, obviously, and also India, Russia, and France as well. So we are in a multipolar world. And if you will see, if you follow the events, India and France are cooperating. It's almost like a strategic alliance today between India and France.
Because we are the 2 cornered people.
Yeah, because we all seek strategic autonomy from the US. We do not want to fall under the US hegemony completely. So India is buying Rafales from France, the aircraft. We are buying the Scorpion submarines from France. We may have certain other things going on behind the scenes which we may not know about, right? So there's all kinds of things going on. Mr. Modi visits France regularly. Mr. Macron also comes to India from time to time. There is a good relationship brewing there. So that is where India stands today. India is now recognized as one of the major geopolitical powers in the world. If you see the past 4 or 5 months since January, there have been dozens of international visits to India. World leaders, senior diplomats, foreign ministers, finance ministers, and so on. It's a non-stop stream of visits. And Dr. Jaishankar is going all around the world. Mrs. Meenakshi Lekhi, who is the other minister in the foreign ministry is also going all around the world. And India's diplomats are very active. We are pushing back at the UN Security Council against any BS that's thrown our way. So India is now standing up for itself. And as long as the economy grows, we're going to be fine. Because if your economy grows larger, you have more money for the military as well, and so on.